Hi, Cameron Brain, CEO and co-founder of Everyone Social, here with another episode of the Social at Scale podcast. Thank you for being with me. For today's episode, we're going to do something really fun. We're going to look at some of the top shared content from Everyone Social users over the last few days. And when it comes to employee advocacy programs, a lot of times the conversation happens at a higher level. When we're talking with our clients, when we're talking with companies who are thinking about activating their employees as influencers, oftentimes we're talking with people who are going to run the program or who, at a minimum are supporting it, perhaps senior level executives. Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you may be one of those people. You may be someone who is lending your support towards an employee advocacy program, or someone who is already running one, or who is looking at potentially running a program. But the fact of the matter is, we as a company, and you as someone who's involved or considering to get involved with an employee advocacy program, we do what we do because it's about supporting the individuals within your organization to unlock the value of their networks, to get them great content that then they can share, out to those networks to produce results for themselves, to produce results for your business. And it's easy to lose sight of all the cool things that all these people are doing and all the things that we can learn from it. So again, for today's episode, we want to look at a handful of shares. I've chosen these at random, so they touch on a few different themes, and let's step through it. I'm going to be pretty brief with each of these. So first up, we have Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a manager, global D&I, and he shared here a post about a returnship program that his company offers, which is a program to support people coming back after a leave of absence. In this case, his share was linking off to a piece of content that was not produced by his company, right? So this is what we would refer to as a third-party piece of content, an article from shrm.org. And as you can see, he got a ton of engagement around this, a lot of conversation. Just a good example of, sharing third-party content that connects with him, his interests, his role, his organization, and priorities. And the results were great. Next up, we've got Robert, and I'm glad Robert showed up here in kind of our list of chosen shares. I've seen some of Robert's shares before. Robert takes things to a very personal level. And in this post, as I have seen with previous posts of Robert's, he is highlighting his son, who's suffered from cystic fibrosis. And the 65 Roses hashtag here relates to a charity as well, focused on cystic fibrosis. And Robert works for a very large commercial real estate organization. So, I think the value of a post like this is it really should just dispel for all of us the rules and kind of regulations that we so often put in place in terms of how we should, function and present ourselves as a professional online, on social. It may not be, any of our first thought, to post something as personal as what Robert's done here, but it's an example that, sharing kind of who we are, sharing some insight from our own lives can be really one of the greatest drivers of, connection and trust. And this post has performed exceptionally. It doesn't also link anywhere, right? This is a photo post. So I think this is another kind of concept to establish or a kind of an idea to kind of blow up, which is not everything needs to lead to some sort of lead form, right? This is the long game as it relates to having your employees function as influencers. We want everyone out there sharing authentic content, developing their network, expanding their network. And from time to time, we may ask that network to go and do something. But, in the meantime, we want to provide value and insight. And so hopefully you take something away from Robert's post. Next up, we've got Luca. Luca works for a very technical cloud services organization. In this case, he is sharing a piece really targeted at their prospective buyers, their prospective users. He's a principal solutions architect, We're talking about, Lambda, TypeScript, engineering infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. And it's a good example because, again, I think so often we hear these rules like, well, you shouldn't be selling or you shouldn't be, sharing this, that, or the other thing. We obviously just saw with Robert, he went extremely personal. This is the totally opposite end of the spectrum. This is, a resource about how to use these products, how to use them effectively, the things that you can do with them, and was very well received by his network. Next up, we've got Mathias. Mathias is with a big biopharma company. And he's sharing just a bit of company news. So this is the biggest investment, single investment that this company has made, expanding their Cork, Ireland facilities in support of developing new therapies for Ebola, malaria, COVID-19, et cetera. For all intents and purposes, a press release. But an interesting one. This company is doing super relevant things that are related to a lot of people and what they're going through, all of our companies are engaging in this kind of stuff on a very frequent basis. We're making investments, we're opening new offices, bringing new members onto the team, et cetera, and there's no reason not to share that kind of news. So. Just a great example of, a relatively common type of update that in this case Mathias has shared to his network, and again, it performed very highly. Finally, we've got a senior level executive of one of our clients, and Vimal is quite active on social, which huge kudos to him and the broader team at their company. Getting executive involvement in your employee advocacy program is really a hallmark of the highest performing programs. And, fact of the matter is executives can be some of your most potent and powerful influencers. That's not always the case. It doesn't have to be the case, but getting them involved, not only can they drive actual results for your program, because oftentimes they're already invested in building out their network, and increasingly these executives see social as really a critical activity for them. But it also gives the green light to everyone else in your organization. So as you're trying to kind of, get people to really get on board with the value of social as a professional, ensuring that they're sharing content on a regular basis, that they're developing their network, seeing is believing, and seeing your CEO or another senior level executive do those things is just huge validation, and again, a hallmark of some of the most successful programs that we're involved with. If we could snap our fingers and have senior level execs at every single company that we work with be as active as Vimal and some of our other top executive users, we would absolutely do that. So something to consider for your program, or if you're thinking about rolling something out. So that's it for today. Just 5 of the top recent shares from some of our users. We'll come back and do this again every day. We have our users sharing content to tens of thousands of people, and we learn something every time we take a look at what they're doing and the impact that it's had. So hopefully you've taken something away from this, and look forward to having you back on the next episode. Thank you.